Hey, guys.
Hi, Allison.
Sorry,
A whole 2 minutes. Oh my.
I know I'm running from like meeting to meeting, right? It's one of those days, but I am here and we are here. Okay. Let me see, let me check in and see. Do we have a quorum? I think we definitely have a quorum.
We do not have a quorum, actually. We have 6 of the 9 individuals that we need.
Okay. So let's just kind of get started with some of the other stuff because we do have a little bit of an agenda. So we won't approve the minutes or start there, but we can start with our mission moment and kind of look at the agenda. Whoever's leading the slideshow. Okay. Okay. A land acknowledgement. Does anybody want to bring the land acknowledgement, whether just read or a story of the land acknowledgement, to the space?
Allison, this is Emily again. I am so sorry to cut you off, but we actually just met quorum in the minute that you were going through that. So if you want to go back and go ahead and officially call the meeting to order, you can do so.
Okay, great. So there you go. Thank you for joining. I'm officially calling the meeting to order, and we have quorum. And it is a beautiful afternoon if you're looking up, right? It's that time of the season where you walk and you look up instead of down. But that being said, is there anybody that is willing to do the land acknowledgement of the space in which we work?
Hey, Allison, I can read it. This is Farina.
Thanks, Farina.
Sure. Land acknowledgement. A land acknowledgement is a formal statement recognizing the indigenous people of a place. It is a public gesture and appreciation for the past and present indigenous stewardship of the lands that we now occupy. The Anchorage Coalition to End Homelessness and the HPRS Advisory Council would like to acknowledge the Dena'ina Athabascan people on whose traditional lands we gather, as well as all indigenous people of Alaska. For thousands of years, the Dena'ina have been and continue to be the stewards of this land. We would like to express our gratitude and respect for the past and present stewardship of the waters, plants, animals, and spiritual practices of this place, and the contributions, innovations, and contemporary perspectives of the Upper Cook Inlet Dena'ina.
Yeah, it's a beautiful word when it flows, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not when it's butchered.
Yeah, beautiful when it flows. Thank you. Thanks, Farina. Okay, mission moment. Come on, Dave, tell us something good that's in your space. Is Dave on here? Yes, he's on here. And he's not even on mute.
We can't hear you, Dave.
We can't hear you though.
Does that get it?
That gets it.
Okay. My mission moment is around the Family Emergency Cold Weather Shelter. The mission of the Family Emergency Cold Weather Shelter is to ensure that no family with kids sleeps outside in the cold winter months. For over a dozen years, churches have been involved in providing space and volunteers to care for families during those winter months. And here post-COVID, Christian Health Associates has been able to secure a single site duplex that allows us to provide overnight shelter and stay in place shelter for up to 8 families with kids, and in case management, housing navigation to help families move forward and also help some of those families with first month's rent and security deposits to help them move into apartments. So we're really grateful for the opportunity to continue to serve. The churches are still the backbone of what we do. They provide volunteers on a rotating nightly basis to provide an evening meal, hospitality, care and concern, and oversight for families on a daily basis. So we're really grateful to be part of it, and glad to be part of the HPRS system, helping families with kids move from houselessness into housing. There it is.
Thank you, Dave. You know, I almost was kind of having a mission moment on the a week, the last Thursday and Friday, the 2 days that we spent really talking kind of as a community. And I would say my mission moment is I've probably met with 4 people this week that I hadn't known before, that just wanted to continue to understand what housing's available, seeking some support for writing some grants that were out in the spaces. And I think that's a real positive of those meetings, right? You know, the intent was to try to get you to have conversations with people that you might not have had conversations with. And so for me, I've really valued the people that I met and have grown a little more to learn from. So grateful for that. So if we want to go to the agenda, we want to welcome all the council members and guests. I think that we might have some guests in the space. That is amazing. And we hope one day to be doing this and have 100 people online and either, well, in person as we go back to the in-person kind of meeting. So consent agenda and the March minutes. Can I get anybody approval or any changes? Actually, let's do that first. Any changes or additions to the agenda? I do have one item that I want to bring up. I would say it's probably best in the section. I always feel like it's crazy when someone else is driving the, you know, I'm like, I don't know what section that was in. I don't have my agenda pulled up. Let me pull up my agenda, then I can kind of self-drive too. Well, I'm going to add this to one section if it's okay with the group. I'd like to get the will of the council members on or anybody that's voting on reimbursement. A couple of, I want to say it's been about 6 weeks. We were kind of alerted by Roger that there had been some expenses that he incurred in the transition from previous I'm like blanking on the name. Roger, what was the name? It wasn't HRAC, but was it HRAC? Was it called HRAC?
This is Roger. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was correct. We're at the coalition office.
Got it. Okay.
Matt and Jessica are both off, so we're figuring out the technology on our own.
I bet you are. I bet it's fun. So anyway, there were some expenses that were occurred, and we asked Roger to submit the expenses and, you know, copies of them and explanation for it. And now it's at the point, if it's the will of the group, to ask the coalition to identify funding to reimburse those expenses. I don't know that we have any path that, if we kind of get this up to current, that could go forward to cover if there was an item such as storage. We might have to figure out another way to support storage or another alternative for it, because we really don't have a line item, and we really can't put that line item in the coalition budget But I think if we ask nicely, I think that they're willing to find that to offset those expenses.
Yeah,
So-
and if I might just explain a little bit, these were expenses during and immediately after the Centennial Camp, where we had a major falling apart in the community, and keeping that lived experience voice legitimate through that time period. And so
Yep.
they were one time, and you know, we're talking 3 years ago now. And so um
I think there were some one time, but there were some multiple years of maintaining storage, right? Like you kept up the maintenance of storage.
yeah,
And yeah.
once it started, it kind of became its own
Yeah.
thing to keep to this time,
Got it.
and no, there won't be no additional expense for that.
Got it, got it. So I would like us to kind of consider that, well, since we've really kind of, we're gonna wait for the minutes and agenda and approval. This is what happens when you get so much sunshine coming into your space. You're like, I'm like ready to go. Here we go. So do I have anybody that will approve the consent agenda, move to approve the consent agenda and the minutes?
Roger, I so move.
Thanks, Roger.
Second.
Thanks, Randy. Somebody else wants to get outside with me.
Yes.
Okay, so the first thing, and there's one thing that I do want to bring forward. We can just leave it maybe on the agenda, and then that way, there you go. That way that'll keep me on track. There was some good feedback brought up at the 2-day meeting about how transparent is this meeting? Can we make sure that information is on the website, that people have access? And we realized that there was just a technical disconnect, but going forward, and I'm not sure who's hosting with me since Jess and those guys aren't there. I don't know if it's Emily or Mitch or who.
This is
we're all
Roger.
here.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, this is Mitch. Emily's on another computer here, and
Allison, just to let you know, this is Jessica. I am online.
Oh,
I'm just
got
in
it.
DC walking along the side of the road, so
Got it.
I'm going to stay muted.
Got it. So we're going to be like, you know, this meeting's recorded. We're going to be posting it so that people can go in and see it, you know, subsequent to the meeting, and having agendas and everything posted in advance. So that was a disconnect that we've been able to fix. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
We actually have a process that was amended and now will be back amended to how it was originally, and we'll make sure that all those materials are available as they once were.
Great. Actually, I think Dawn, you brought that forward, and we didn't even realize it. So thanks for bringing that forward. Okay, so special retreat debrief. So there's a couple of things that, can you share the screen with me? I guess it's shared now, right?
are you seeing the agenda, correct?
I'm seeing the agenda, yeah.
Okay, what do you need to see?
No, I have something on my computer. I
Oh,
need to
okay,
see.
sorry. You should be able to. I'll stop mine. Yep, go ahead.
Okay, got it. Let me see. Okay. So the one thing, can you guys see that?
No.
Well, there you go. Now can you see it?
Still nothing.
Okay. Let's see. Still nothing, right? Still nothing?
Correct.
And continued nothing, or do you see something?
There it is. I see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to go through this, but what I want the board members, I mean, I can go through it briefly so that you have it. but I would like to send this out to you as a council and just make sure you kind of agree with key responsibilities. One of the things that was one of the top priorities coming out of the retreat is a mapping exercise, right? And I think to get us direct quote, and I will say, thank you, a great attendance. I think we only had Dave that had to cancel at the last minute and Tasha, but it was amazing to have everybody there that spent the afternoon doing this. So, and we had a goal of going in there of being clearer about our roles, clearer about what the advisory council responsibilities are. And so I felt like there's a couple of documents that we could put kind of in a PowerPoint kind of presentation that could land on our website so that not only do we have access to it, but other people can kind of see the difference. This is what the advisory council does. This is what the coalition does, right? And so one of our top priorities that we're going to be working through the executive committee is a systems map of HPRS and the coalition to determine where the power to affect change lies. That's exactly our words. So with this piece, and I'm happy, just not in the time frame that we have for this meeting, I'm happy to further elaborate. We can do these. I can bring these to every committee if that's a way that we want to do it. Just to see if it's kind of meeting some of the needs. So key responsibilities of the advisory council, and this is going to be really sexy stuff, really exciting. So you guys be prepared to be happy when you read it. So anyway, governance and oversight of the homeless prevention and response system. I will say that branding did make the list, rebranding, but it didn't make the top 3. So we're going to figure out if there is another way that we can be known in the community. This then goes through and kind of levels out in kind of brief, descriptive things. What is the role of the COC, of the COC advisory board? So it's got it's got governance and oversight. It has system planning and strategy. So these are some of the things that, we are also trying to make sure for system-wide strategy. It has some policies and standards development. So this is kind of giving us some guidance on what, like there's a couple of one committee that doesn't have a charter. Let's get the charter for it. And then everything very visible and on the website for the community. Funding and resource allocation. And again, this is kind of high level thinking about it. And it's going to take all of us adding to it before it's published. But we just got this done. So I wanted to make sure that you guys saw it. Performance and data oversight. That's one of our roles with HMIS. Coordinated entry and service integration. Community engagement and policy advocacy. And compliance and risk management. All those fun things that we all have to think about. And then kind of a summary of all the different ways. These are tools that are going to help us map out what this system is looking like in our community. Now, I'm happy to answer questions here, but I will tell everybody I'm either going to go to all the committees and we're going to have a few minutes on it, or I'm going to figure out a way that we have a little more time just to make sure if I send it around for a week and you guys edit the slides or look at them and want some changes, then that will be done too. So if there's any high level questions that you want to ask, happy to kind of take that on. And hopefully this exercise of getting this done becomes a helpful process for people who are trying to know the difference between the advisory council and the coalition. That's all kind of the intent is. Then the other one is a slideshow that is on gaps and overlaps in the system. And this is going to be important when we start mapping what are some of the possible gaps and overlaps. And again, we use this was the questions that were asked to the group at the retreat. This is the questions that in our previous time that we did surveys that were sent to Michael. These were identified as some of the questions, the unclear relationship between the two. And so it kind of answered some of that. Limited representation of key stakeholders. This is where we've got to figure out how to prioritize lived experience and in a genuine, authentic way, and what that looks like, whether that's its own committee of the coalition. How do we help change our community in its ability to have that directing our service model? Gap 3, coordinated entry, accessibility, and effectiveness. This is about always monitoring if the people are being housed through the system in a fair and equitable way. And how are we going to check that, right? Lack of standardization, performance metrics across programs. This is where we talked about it's time for us as a coalition to be looking at program performance and using that data to, as we go in, to help strengthen our community's programs and services. And duplication of policy making. We see a little bit of an overlap between us and the coalition on that, about how it's unclear about the influence structure. And redundancy and compliance. So maybe some things the coalition is doing, we think we might be doing too, if we get really into performance oversight. And then roles and funding allocation. I think that's getting close to it. And then thank you. No. So these are tools to get us sharper and sharper to where we're trying to go, right? And I said to, I was like, okay, they've got to be under 20 because it's actually too long anyway. But I want to make sure that you guys saw that this was all the things we talked about. These were the areas where we had some confusion as council members. These are the areas that we have been asked by the community to understand in a more clear and concise way. And so I feel like these are tools that will help us get there. We may be talking to people, and definitely we will use some of the material, but at times the presentation may be presented differently depending on the audience, right? But this is designed to give us as council people some tools to explain what our role is in the community. And if you remember, well, if you weren't there, our top 3, which actually we have 4, because we had a tie for number 3, is systems map of HPRS and the coalition, determine where the power to affect change lies. Number 2, acknowledge and provide authentic space for lived experience. Number 3, discuss viability of municipal engagement. Number 3B, how does the data tell the story, tell the human impact story, moving away from inputs, outputs to outcomes and stories? So that is what we felt like as a group and voted on as our priorities. So with that, these materials will be sent out to you, and I'm fine with sending out with whoever is attending. Although, if we can send it to the council members first, since I didn't have an opportunity to send it to it. So Mitch, if you can get these out to the full 20 council members, and look at it, spend some time in it, send back your thoughts. We're still compiling it and Michael's still working with us on it.
Okay, no problem.
So does anybody have any high level questions? Does anybody feel like this is, kind of on target for what we were needing or looking for? Just some thoughts about it.
So this is Roger. little bit of technology challenges, but we're getting through it here, I think. I thought it was real well done by, you know, the retreat itself was well done, and I like this product that Michael's put out. I think it, you know, the overview is that it does hit the mark on conveying the concerns and what a potentially great tool. So thank you.
Anybody else thoughts on the retreat? Or I'm trying to think, I don't have a hand raising thing.
I think my comment is more broad, is I
Okay.
really appreciated Michael's facilitation of it. I think it was very helpful for her to draw out some of the words and ideas that she's just very skilled at doing that. And I felt that it allowed us to be a lot more organized, and I know I left the retreat with a lot more clarity.
Good.
Yep, and this is Farina. I'm going to piggyback on what Randy just said. I appreciated the facilitation of the retreat, but also giving us some tangibles to work towards. And I know, Allison, if this might be something you're already planning to talk about, but I want to make sure that we do engage a little bit, maybe if not this meeting, the next meeting, about membership.
Yeah.
And how we wanted to, while it wasn't kind of identified in those top 3, how would we engage that? Because since the summit, I've had a few people that have reached out about how would they be, or how could they participate in this meeting as a member, but also just as community members. So I think it's worth us just kind of circling the wagon on that.
Man, I feel like we should have the distribution list for that event that happened on Thursday, Friday. And send out and say, this is our meeting schedule. You're welcome to attend, you know, these meetings. And, you know, we get into a situation where we start and tell a friend, you know, I mean, I think part of it too is that we also had to figure out how to make sure that we were focused and that we could bring people into these spaces and they would understand. And you know, I think that each time we've met, it keeps getting clearer and clearer, right? And so I really appreciate that, Farina. And I do think that might not be, I don't know that I would say it's going to be a committee, but we might have, you know, like Michael was saying, you know, sometimes you put together a small group for a particular initiative or something, and they come together and they really think about, I couldn't even tell you where this, the meeting invite gets distributed now, right? So does it get distributed greater than the 20 council members? I couldn't tell you. So
Wow.
I think that partly, it just keeps getting clearer and clearer. And that is probably something that I'm going to ask for, you know, not a standing committee, but Will had a great word for it. What was your word, Will? That you have standing committees and then you have, you know,
Task force, I think.
task force, and maybe a task force that their job is just membership. Let's think about membership. Let's watch to see if we can go from just having council people in the spaces outside of the times where money may be involved, right? To having more groups and more people involved in it. But I'm going to make a note of that, Farina, just so we make sure that that doesn't get too far off of our list.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any other thoughts or points needing clarity? So I'm going to stop sharing. I hope I stop sharing. We can get back to the agenda, but that will get set around and you guys will have more time to kind of look at it and kind of see. You know, it's funny. I did the first PowerPoint with about 4 or 5 staff members over here to see if they would understand kind of what this is. And it actually, they were like, wow, now we understand that a little more. So, I mean, I think if we think about it as a tool that we might use, we might naturally also get more people engaged and involved. So we'll keep going with that. Okay, look at that. I'm 2 minutes over, but I'm determined. So, I would entertain a motion to ask the coalition to reimburse the expenses incurred by Roger Branson in the transition from emergency shelter to Centennial Park and all that was happening. I don't know that we have to go into the detail of it. The expenses were all verified, but the coalition needs a request from us. If it's the will of us that he be reimbursed, then we need to make that request. And Roger, I don't think you or I can do it, but maybe Sharon.
Yeah, this is Sharon. I'll move to request the reimbursement of expenses that Roger incurred.
Okay.
And this
Can
is
I get a
I'll
second?
Dave Mayo Kiley will second.
Okay. So if I can get a thumbs up react vote. I'm just trying to challenge. Oh, look at Sharon. She's a check instead of a thumbs up.
So this is Roger. I think I'm on a host computer and can't do a reaction.
Actually, it might be
but,
something,
I
Roger,
might
that
not- I
we
might
should
not
ask
wanna
you to
vote on-
refrain from voting.
That would make sense.
Yeah, so if you wouldn't mind, I think
Abstain.
the motion carries, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, I'll write up a request and send it over to the coalition on that. Or actually, the coalition's on here. Do you need something formal, Jess?
I do, please. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, I'll take care of that. And why don't we go into some committee reports? Do we have any committees that met? I think most of it was spent at the retreat. If we don't have any committees that met, then I would ask that we get an update since Jess is actually in DC. It would be interesting to understand what's happening with our government.
So this is Roger. I can give you a brief update on the compliance committee. Of course, we've been following the Iraq issue and reimbursement, but we're energized by both the retreat and the recent summit and are looking forward to reorganizing and seeing what 2025 is going to bring us. My co-chair asked for another 30 days off. She had a loss in the family and expects to be back soon.
Okay.
Go ahead,
That was it.
Sharon.
That was it for the compliance committee.
Okay. Will.
So the community partners meeting had a meeting a couple of weeks ago. We talked a little bit about, things of interest as far as like the retreat or kind of other kind of issues, kind of advisory council wide. Some of those kind of addressed earlier as far as membership, kind of the voice of advisory council and kind of branding and kind of a sense of identity. Also kind of coordination between committees. We're also starting work on the gap analysis. So our meeting this week got canceled, but we'll be reconvening on April 7th. And at that point, as we discussed at the retreat and as was assigned to the community parties committee, we'll start working on tackling the voices of folks with lived experience and trying to see what steps need to be taken to stand up Hirak. So anyone interested in that, please feel free to join. And then we'll continue work on the gap analysis. So would certainly invite anyone interested in participating in our committee to join. I know we have some new members around, and would love to have additional voices in our conversations.
Sharon, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, thank you. Yes, I'll give the report from the data committee. We met last week. We had some sort of ongoing items that we're working on, and one of these is it would be a survey of AKHMIS users to ask about the utility of HMIS for them, and yeah, so what additionally they would like to get out of it. It's and then we also talked about the anchored home metrics, and this is a thing we started to work on last year. Sort of defining the metrics, determining exactly how they would be measured. We did sort of well, I sort of dropped the ball on that over the summer, but we're going to pick it up again. And yeah, so those are the main things that we talked about. Allison, I think you're muted. Yeah.
I think I am. Thank you. Sorry about that. Jess, do you want to jump in and give us an update while you're walking through DC?
No, I'm back. Airbnb now. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. DC has been a whirlwind. I'm down here at the National Low Income Housing Annual Advocacy Conference. So we had 2 days worth of sessions where we were able to network and talk with other organizations across the US that are doing a lot of the same work we are. And talking about advocacy strategies and hearing senators and congressmen from different states on approaches that they're working on and things that their organization.
I think we lost you for a minute. Did we lose you, Jess? Well, that might be all we need to know about DC.
Yeah, it looks like Jessica dropped off.
Okay, she dropped off. You know, this is kind of, I think that she might be reporting out on this. If not, I'm happy to. So I am excited that, and I will, she would know this, and I don't know. I don't know if the Assembly has approved the 5 million in housing related support services grant program, all of it. But I do know that there were the organizations selected for a project in increasing housing for there was a bit of a tight window on the time for housing reimbursement, but it is resources that are designed to transition as we kind of go from the winter ramp up to kind of summer in Alaska. So the Anchorage Coalition is receiving $1 million in a partnership application. And I know that partnership application actually includes Covenant House's transition housing team. I'm not sure the others. I think the Anchorage Housing Trust as well. But anyway, Choosing Our Roots is going to be helping out and housing people. Henning Group is helping out and housing people, close to $1 million going to be awarded to them, NeighborWorks, 780, and New Life Development, about 300,000 to do housing support, housing related support. Rural Cap And I think last but not least, United Way, and United Way had multiple, I don't know if they were multiple applications, because they all kind of say something different. So there are dollars in United Way for eviction diversion, and which to me is really important for everybody to know that, because everybody should be able to access, right? And that's amazing. So I want everybody to know where these dollars are going, so that, you know, as we continue to work on seamless, you know, housing for our most vulnerable that we know. And then they have Home for Good, got $800,000. And last but not least, United Way Landlord Partnership. So these will be something I would love to bring United Way to our meeting to understand what their distribution method might be and how we can make sure that we maximize that resource that does have a bit of a time limit on it. So I'm not quite sure, and maybe, I don't know, Farina, if I can even ask you, do you know if it's gone before the assembly and approved? Because I know everybody was shooting for a May 1st start date.
It will hit the April 8th agenda.
Okay, it's great.
Yep.
So anybody that's going to the April 8th, you know, assembly meeting, it's important that we make sure that that resource is done. And I do know that today at 5 o'clock, so pretty close to the end of this meeting, there was another RFP that was out from the municipality CDBG, and it was about 850,000 to increase housing. I'm not sure, I'm not currently aware of anybody that was an applicant in that space, but hopefully someone is or was, right? Because that also is a direct pipeline to help increase beds that are in service. So that's my Muni update that I didn't think I was going to do, but now, well, there's Jess. I think we can tell her, I think I got it. Those are probably the main two things.
And this is Roger. Yeah, I just wanted to, on the United Way Home for Good, I do serve on the executive steering committee and might be able to speak to some of those things, but I don't know about the funding request though.
Yeah.
But
I think it, you know, it's kind of, once the assembly kind of approves it, starts going to contract, whatever we can do to get to those that need it the most, and those that are working in these spaces to maximize those dollars, right? So
Yeah, hey, Allison, I'll jump in here, because what we do, Thea and I are going to have just kind of a kickoff meeting with everyone that is awarded, just so that you guys are all in the room and
oh, that's great.
Some collaboration, because this is the first time that we've had so many vendors that we've been able to fund at one time. So really, celebrating that, catalyzing the energy, and then creating those real-time relationships so that you have kind of a uniformed who's leaning more into kind of prevention, who's
Yep.
going to be doing homelessness directly into housing. So that way we really, with the time limited dollars, we're maximizing each vendor.
That sounds great. And you're right, that there was quite a few vendors in the space, so that's great. Okay. Do we have any other council related, or Will, is your hand up?
Yes. So this relates a little bit to the committee report, and also some of this discussion is something that we had talked about in the community priorities committee, and I've talked to some folks about at the homelessness retreat or summit last week, was about kind of starting a kind of community practice, or restarting, I guess I should say, on kind of diversion prevention. And so going to be reaching out to folks related to that. And if you're interested, don't hesitate to reach out affirmatively to me, and I'll be reaching out to folks to try to get that restarted. So just FYI.
Great.
Well, this is Farina. Add me to your group.
Oh, trust me, you're already on.
Yeah. Okay, do we have any questions or comments additional? It says hand or Zoom chat and raised hands. That sounds like something fun. I'm trying to navigate to make sure I'm not missing any raised hands. Any public comment? Kim?
Hello, I just wanted to give a couple quick HMIS plugs. First one is that the system performance measures are going to be due on April 11th. So our team has been working through those and asking providers for data cleanup over the last couple of weeks, and will continue to do so for the next couple of weeks. The other thing that we've been reaching out to providers about is the point in time count and the housing inventory count. Those have been going well. We started a new thing this year where we asked to set up a call with everybody to walk through the form, just to make sure that we got accurate numbers and we could really confirm that the reports folks were turning in had been reviewed and confirmed as correct. We are still working on several submissions for that. It has not opened with HUD yet, so we still have some more time, but we are still trying to get to find my counts really quick. I lost them. Okay, I cannot find them. Those went way too far back. 1 second. So we are still waiting on 12 projects from 8 different agencies for Anchorage. So we are continuing to reach out to them and working with ACH to get those folks to submit their numbers. And then the final piece is that next week is the quarterly data quality submission window will open. It will be open for 3 weeks. And that is a process in which providers submit their data quality scores for the previous quarter, which will be January 1st through March 31st. So if you are an HMIS participating provider, expect to see those in your inbox next week. And that's all I got.
Got it. Thanks, Kim.
No, this is Roger, just to follow up on the calendar, the Executive Steering Committee for the Home for Good project will meet April 10th from 10 to noon. And
Where does that meet, Roger?
I think we're meeting at the Threads building. Or
At
we
the
are.
what?
The Threads building on Commercial Mountain View.
Oh. And can you give me that date? Hold on 1 second.
April 10th.
Okay.
10 a.m. till noon. And I'm looking at the invite list. Usually, in the past, we had the homeless coordinator on here. I'm not seeing Farina's name, but I'm sure she's invited.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Roger.
Yep. I'm looking forward to that celebration. All these new providers.
I know, right?
Oh my gosh.
It's great. Okay, I don't think we have any members of the public that want to comment. Any shout outs or things to think about? I did get a email from the mayor's office requesting that they're building a youth advisory council. And I think all those things are good. So what I'll do is, just in case anybody didn't see that link, I will make sure that I get it to Mitch, and we'll make sure to help support any young person that is looking to be on a youth advisory council for the administration. Okay, anything Youth Advisory Commission? It's a commission. And the application, there's a link to the application, so it's great. Amber.
Yeah, I had a quick question on the Youth Advisory Commission. What's the age range for that?
Yeah, so I'm looking at it. It's 14 to 22.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. And where'd you say that application was?
I'm gonna send it out, so all you guys, I'm gonna send it to Mitch, and whenever he sends out the PowerPoint, he'll send out the memo that came from the mayor's office.
Okay, thank you guys.
Yep.
Allison, we also have a question in the chat. Looks like it's directed towards ACEH.
Okay, let me see. Is ACH going to provide 1 year of housing to the woman that testified last Wednesday day at the homeless committee meeting? So I'm happy to take that question to the coalition, since the coalition is off the call because of some technology. Is there a particular, well, I'm trusting if I ask that question, they're going to know who I'm talking about. Is there any more details, or does the Samaritan want to reach out to me or one of the other co-chairs? Jessica.
I'll jump in here. We are coordinating. We did have our third-party oversight vendor connect with that individual. The coalition is one of our active partners in all of our shelter coordination. So we are not just hearing that testimony and letting it drop. The coalition is always standing right next to us to make sure that we're able to do that kind of follow-up. So we have her contact information, and it is going to be a kind of a partnership. And how do we kind of stage her into our shelter so that the coalition can then kind of assess where things are and what happened. So no, she is not just kind of falling through the cracks, and it is most certainly being addressed.
Yeah, this is Roger. The lived experience, HERAC is also aware and backfilling wherever we can in the community for all the individuals here. So we appreciate the concern.
Great. Thank you, Samaritan, for bringing the question forward. Thanks somebody for catching it. The chat's not up there and easily seen. Okay, well, am I going to give you guys six minutes in the sunshine? I think I am. I'm going to give you back your 6 minutes of sunshine. And unless these are all the advocacy, back up a little bit. I shouldn't say that. And I would not resent going all the way until the time if we had some good news or celebrations that somebody wanted to bring forward. I apologize for skipping that one. One of these days I'm going to actually pull up mine, and then I'm not tracking while somebody else is driving. It's kind of like texting and driving. None of it should be done, right?
That's right.
Carrie.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to give a shout out and let everyone know that AHFC will be opening our Anchorage Housing Choice Voucher waitlist on April 1st. And so that is our big voucher waitlist. And so that'll open at 8 a.m. on April 1st and close at 1 p.m. on April 30th. It will be a randomized waitlist, so everyone has the same opportunity to be ranked on the list as number one, whether they apply at the opening or towards the end. So please visit our website for updated information, but just want to broadcast it as wide as we can that'll be opening on Tuesday at 8 a.m.
That's great. How many vouchers do you think are going to be available?
We are not putting a cap on it. On how many applications we're going to receive. We historically receive between like 3,500 and 4,000 applications, and we anticipate probably around the same this time through.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That is definitely something, you know, I'm sure you guys are sending out flyers and all kinds of various things, but that's definitely something posting on websites and all of that to say, this now is the time to do that.
For sure. Yeah, we've got social media going and updates on our websites. Our staff are meeting with various partners in the community. I have my list of partners to reach out to now that we've got some instruction guides and different things. And so I'll be reaching out to them, including the coalition, to ensure they have the information.
Hey, Carrie, if we have partners that are interested in having someone from AHFC come and talk about it, is there a particular point of contact that they should reach out to?
Yeah, Farina, if you want to, you know what, let me put the email in the chat.
And by the way,
that'll be the
BJ
best
did
way
connect
for
with
me to connect them.
Cool. And by the way, BJ did connect with our
Perfect.
congregate and non-congregate, but I'm just throwing it out there for this larger group who may
Yeah.
also have some additional contacts. And she, by the way, did a wonderful job.
Awesome. Do you have BJ's contact information? Because she really is ultimately who I get it to.
Oh, there you go. Okay, then I have
it. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Well, I will gladly run the meeting till 5 if people want to bring any additional vouchers to the table. Okay, do we have any other celebrations, good newses or celebrations?
This is Roger. I just want to comment how positive I thought the summit came off and how much I appreciated Shirley May and the presentation that she gave during it. I thought it was, really brought it back home for me personally.
Yeah, I did too. I felt like it was a great 2 days, and there were times I was trying to manage to be gone 2 full days, but I never felt like there was a space that I shouldn't be participating in, and that's kind of uniquely different. So I thought the meetings it was run well, timely, and a lot of content, good content.
I just want to say thanks to everyone that was there, that participated, those of you that participated on the fly. So just really grateful for how smoothly it went, how well engaged everyone was, and the fact this is always a sign when no one leaves and it's still a full room for the last panel of the day. So I just want to say thanks to the coalition, to everyone that just came together, because it was really a partnership showing, and I couldn't have been happier with how everything turned out. So thank you.
Yeah. Okay, there is some concern that Meg and Jess don't know who this particular person is.
And I'll take that one also, Allison. We are in contact. Our vendor has been in contact with this individual as of this week. So we know how to find her. We know how to communicate. And again, the coalition is a part of our partner network. So it's first making sure that we maintain contact with the individual, getting her into our shelter system, and we'll work through there. So Samaritan, thank you. We are not going to lose track.
It's great.
This is Roger. I motion to adjourn.
Roger,
Second.
I will say, I don't even know if I can second myself. So somebody else second. I break
Farina
Roger's
seconds.
rules. Okay, thank you, Farina. Okay, everybody, enjoy. And if you don't have anything to do tonight is Ambling for Alzheimer's at the Nave from 4:30 to 6. So it's a pre-party event. And you can see me there. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, guys.